Ms. Yeo Wan Ling.
Mr. Speaker, may I take PQs 6 to 9 by Ms. Yeo Wan Ling and Ms. Joan Pereira together as a combined response?
Yes, please.
The government provides support for caregivers in several ways. This includes supporting caregiving needs directly, enabling working caregivers to better manage both work and their caregiving responsibilities through flexible work arrangements, aiding their re-entry to the workforce through employment facilitation and training support, and strengthening their retirement adequacy. The government provides support for families with caregiving needs through subsidized care services and grants. For instance, all families with Singaporean children enrolled in ACDA licensed childcare centres receive a universal basic subsidy, and some families receive additional means-tested subsidies. Eligible Singaporeans receive subsidies of up to 80% for non-residential elder care services such as daycare and day rehabilitation services. We also provide financial assistance such as through Home Caregiving Grant and Pioneer Generation Disability Assistance Scheme to those with moderate to severe disability to defray the cost of caregiving. Eligible caregivers of young children, elderly persons, and persons with disabilities can also apply for the migrant domestic worker levy concession if they need more help to look after their loved ones. Altogether, these allow caregivers to go back to work with peace of mind. To further help working caregivers, the government and tripartite partners are strengthening efforts to encourage adoption of flexible work arrangements. We have developed resources such as implementation guides and FWA policy templates, and conducted workshops to guide employers in implementing flexible work arrangements. Other than the tripartite standard and tripartite advisory on flexible work arrangements, MOM and tripartite partners had formed the Alliance for Action on Work-Life Harmony last year to facilitate the exchange of best practices, including in sectors that face greater challenges in implementing flexible work arrangements. We are further sustaining this momentum by growing and equipping a community of work-life ambassadors to support these efforts in the workplaces. Employers and employees who require advice or assistance on flexible work arrangements may approach the Tripartite Alliance for Fair and Progressive Employment Practices, TAFEP, for advice and assistance. In 2021, TAFEP did not receive any case relating to disputes on flexible work arrangements. Now, one positive trend is that Singapore's full-time female employment rate has been rising steadily over the last 10 years. However, there's still a small proportion of women who have not been able to participate in the workforce due to caregiving responsibilities. In 2020, 15% of women cited family-related responsibilities as a main reason for being outside the labour force, while 6% were working part-time due to family or personal commitments. When they are ready to work or to participate more fully in the workforce, women can tap on WSG's employment facilitation programs and services, as well as SkillsFuture Singapore's training programs. For example, the Career Trial Program provides a trial period of up to 3 months for the employer and job seeker to assess their mutual job fit, with an allowance provided by the government during the trial. Career conversion programs provide training and salary support to employers who hire and reskill mid-career job seekers for new occupations. Eligible working caregivers receive Workfare Income Supplement, which provides up to $4,000 in cash and CPF top-ups annually for those who are earning lower wages. Let me share an example of how WSG's efforts have helped full-time caregivers get back to work. Ms. Audrey Ong, currently in her 40s, quit her corporate job as a regional marketing manager in 2017 to spend more time with her son, who was taking PSLE that year. When she was ready to return to workforce in 2019, after her son became older and was a teenager, she wanted a second career that was both meaningful and manageable. Audrey came across testimonials on WSG's webpage of mid-career professionals who completed the 2-year career conversion program for registered nurses degree, and she signed up for it. Her family was very supportive of her new endeavor. Audrey has since completed her 2-year training stint and started her new job as a staff nurse with SingHealth Community Hospitals last year. Staying employed is key to financial resilience and retirement adequacy. With increasing participation in the workforce and higher wages, successive cohorts of Singaporeans have been able to accumulate more CPF savings for retirement today compared to a decade ago. Aside from helping caregivers accumulate more CPF savings through better employment outcomes, we have also introduced and enhanced measures in recent years to help all Singaporeans, including caregivers, build sufficient savings for retirement. For caregivers who had lower incomes during their working years and now have less to retire on, the Silver Support Scheme, which was enhanced in 2021, provides quarterly payouts of up to $900. About 2/3 of the Silver Support recipients are women, including many caregivers. Incentives are also provided for caregivers and their loved ones to top up their CPF in cash. For example, the government enhanced the tax incentives for retirement sum topping up scheme from 1st January 2022. Eligible members can also benefit from matching contributions from the government for CPF cash top-ups under the Matched Retirement Savings Scheme, which was launched in 2021. Finally, older caregivers can tap on housing monetization schemes such as lease buyback scheme and silver housing bonus to unlock their housing equity to supplement their retirement needs. The government will continue to review our multi-pronged efforts to ensure that caregivers are well supported. Feedback from the conversations on Singapore women's development on greater support for caregivers will also be considered for the upcoming white paper on Singapore women's development.
Ms. Yeo Ling.
Thank you, MOS, for your answer. Many of my female constituents have come to me citing that they have difficulties looking for a job due to the following reasons: not being able to fit into a typical 9-to-5 job due to caregiving responsibilities at home, and also not being confident due to the lack of formal work skills or being away from the workforce for quite a number of years. I would like to ask the MOS if there will be plans to put into place a database, perhaps for easier access to employers who have FWA roles available, and if there would be support from the ministry to set up localized mentorship programs across the island to help ease women into the workplace. Further, as the dust settles on the effects of COVID-19 in the workplace, many companies are grappling with new HR standards brought up by COVID-19 accelerated workplace matters. One big area, of course, is in particular work from home. Our constituents have brought up to us that there seems yet to be best practices to measure and appraise the work of individuals in similar roles, but one having to work at home and one having to work in the office. Employees who have also joined the company during COVID-19 are understandably also experiencing steeper learning curves. And so with this, would the ministry, perhaps with HR thought leaders, be looking to support our employers, in particular our local SMEs, to set up better and clearer HR policies pertaining to these very new circumstances at the workplace brought up by COVID-19?
Thank Honourable Member Ms. Yuan Ling for the two SQs. Very valid questions. Today we have the tripartite standard on flexible work arrangements, which provides recognition to companies that offer flexible work arrangements to their employees and put in place recommended practices, including informing employees on the flexible work arrangements available and the process to evaluate requests from the employees. Adopters of the tripartite standard are provided with a TS on FWA, or tripartite standard mark on FWA, that they can display on their recruitment materials to distinguish themselves as progressive employers who support the work-life needs of their employees. They are also identified as TS adopters on My Career's Future job portal and TAFEP's website. We encourage progressive companies who already offer FWAs or are considering doing so to adopt the tripartite standard on FWAs to distinguish themselves to job seekers and employees. On the availability of mentorship programs, Workforce Singapore's broad-based employment facilitation programs and services provide support to all job seekers, including to caregivers. Customized career coaching services have also been found to be very useful to job seekers and caregivers alike, who have individual and personal aspirations and skill gaps that need to be addressed. Mentoring is actually part of career coaching. I understand that NTUC's Women and Family Unit is also starting a pilot program to mentor women who want to get back to work. And this program, very interestingly, involves union leaders, women union leaders, as well as grassroots leaders coming together to support women in our community who want to return to work. I think this is an excellent community program, and I would encourage more community groups to introduce and to support women who want to come back to work in different ways. As I said earlier, MOM and WSG will continue to review our employment facilitation programs and services to ensure they remain accessible to job seekers, including caregivers, to help them return to the workforce. On the second SQ, support for SMEs to implement work from home and also HR standards to help companies implement work from home for their employees. I would say that MOM and the tripartite partners do provide resources on how employers, supervisors, and HR can implement flexible work arrangements in a way that is fair, sustainable, and effective. For example, the Tripartite Advisory on Flexible Work Arrangements sets out that supervisors should communicate expectations clearly upfront, manage and appraise fairly based on work outcomes instead of face time, and also have to conduct regular check-ins with staff who are on flexible work arrangements. At the same time, the advisory highlights the role that employees play in making flexible work arrangements work. Employees should utilize the flexible work arrangements responsibly, including being accountable for work deliverables and remaining contactable and responsive while on flexible work arrangements, such as working from home. Amidst COVID-19, the Institute of HR Professionals has set up a COVID-19 task force to curate resources to help employers and the HR community navigate the new challenges posed by the pandemic. These complementary resources include IHRP's guidance on government advisories and HR toolkits to guide people and business strategies through this challenging period. In particular, the talent development and talent retention toolkits provide reference approaches and recommended practices on virtual learning. HR leaders through the IHRP also came together to develop a playbook on hybrid workplaces to guide companies in planning and implementing hybrid work. I mentioned that yesterday. I encourage companies and HR professionals who may need further support to tap on the wealth of resources and workshops offered by TUFEP and IHRP, or join the Work-Life Ambassador and IHRP community. Beyond resources provided, it will be critical for everyone involved, employers, supervisors, HR professionals, and employees, of course, to shift our mindsets and adjust the way we work so that we can collectively redefine workplace expectations and management processes to achieve more effective work outcomes.
Ms. Joan Pereira.
Thank you, Speaker. Thanks, MOS. I have one SQ. I'm glad to note and hear that caregivers have successfully tapped on the various schemes of the career conversion program offered by Workforce Singapore. However, I have met many constituents who are elderly caregivers who do not know where to turn to, how to navigate the websites, and I was just wondering whether MOM is able to provide greater awareness, publicity on the schemes in the career conversion program for these caregivers, especially the elderly ones returning to the workforce. Thank you.
Thank Honourable Member Ms. Joan Pereira for the SQ. Indeed, one of MOM's focus in the last 2 years has been reaching out to elderly job seekers, caregivers included, to make sure that they're able to navigate the wide spectrum of resources available. We have also set up 24 SG United Jobs and Skills Centres in HDB estates, and these actually have been tremendously helpful as senior job seekers, caregivers included, are able to walk in and have face-to-face type of consultation sessions with the career coaches and the advisors on the spot. Caregivers can also tap on My Careers Future portal to search for jobs that best suit their skill sets, and I think this is widely available and known to all. I think we have to recognize that it is actually challenging for caregivers, especially those who have not been at work for a long time, to look for jobs. So I fully support additional help and support to be made available to them so that they can get back to work and be able to fulfill their career aspirations, regardless of their age. Thank you.